and try to understand it. Feel it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to W.M.S.T podcast with another special episode. We are doing a spoiler talk for the new Christopher Nolan movie, Tenet. So you have been warned. There is a non-spoiler video that's already out before this video. So if you haven't seen the movie, go check that out. But if you have seen the movie and you need to understand what the ending actually means, like, honestly, we do a little bit. Come join us. We'll try to explain the movie to the best of our abilities. And yeah, so let's get started with the spoiler talk for Tenet. And joining me now is the editor-in-chief, Ziggler. What up, Ziggler?
Yo, what up?
What up? All right. So I know you're excited to talk about it. So let's get started. The first thing we got to talk about, obviously, is the opening scene. You can come in and jump in whenever you want, but Ziggler, you mentioned before we started recording this, the opening scene was great, but did you notice there was a major difference between what we saw in the trailer versus what we actually saw in the movie? So the movie opens with the opera terrorist attack that we saw in the trailers, and you see this amazing Christopher Nolan score start with a bang, and then you see these people being put to sleep while these other agents come in and attack these terrorists. It was weird because it was almost as if they were ready for that attack, and it was kind of a plan for them to go in and get the president guy or whoever he was out of there.
Well, yeah, because they had fake.
Yeah, the fake logo or something.
Yeah, and one of the guys pulled it off. Who are you?
Yeah, because the one of them was John David Washington, the CIA agent. So he was definitely a CIA undercover agent trying to recover the guy. And I mean, honestly, an amazing scene. But at the same time, the first line of dialogue John David Washington speaks, I could not understand. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I gotta clean my ears.
Yeah, he was wearing his mask, right?
Right, he was wearing that black mask with and you couldn't really hear him. Plus, the score was so loud with a lot of the movie, so compound that with the dialogue being so lower tone than the score. Plus the mask, it was like, whoa, wait a minute, what did he just say?
Yeah, the movie was really loud.
Yeah, it was really loud. The score was so amazing, you didn't mind it. If the score was bad, you'd be like, oh my god, why is this so loud? But I loved hearing the score. But the difference I was talking about between the trailers and the movie was we didn't get to see Neil, Robert Pattinson's character, in that sequence, because I feel like during the inversion, because they would be able to go back in time in reverse, right? I feel like they were supposed to go back to that event and do something different, because in the trailer you can see John David Washington and Neil and Robert Pattinson were in that scene, but they were inverted. Did you notice that?
To be honest, I didn't watch the trailers. I watched one or two, but I never rewatched them because I didn't want to see.
Yeah, maybe it's a deleted scene now, because I saw a headline, I didn't click on it, but there was a headline saying a 2-minute sequence was deleted from the movie, it was censored or something like that. I don't know what it was, but maybe it was that scene, because Robert Pattinson was supposed to be in there, because I saw in the trailer he was in that opera room in the theater,
Yeah. Well, I thought this set piece was gonna be the last action set piece, but it turned out it was the first one.
Opening, yeah. Hey, man.
It got caught me off guard, and then
hey, man,
it got
that's inversion.
really loud.
What you think is the first thing happening is actually the last thing that's happening.
Yeah. I don't think they showed us in the trailers. I don't think they showed us anything in the final act.
Yeah, the final act, actually, if you watch the final trailer, they do show some clips of the final act. But the way they showed the final act in the trailer, it feels like some otherworldly, like maybe like the World War III happens or something like that. But we never realized that scene was actually them preventing the World War III or the nuclear bombs going off. And he gets caught and he gets compromised, but John David Washington doesn't give up his colleagues, and he eats the bullet out of the other guy's hand because they took the bullet away from him. So he ate the other guy's suicide bullet, and you assume he's dead because they've broken his teeth. The people who caught him, they broke his
pulled
teeth.
out all his teeth. He said.
Yeah, all his teeth, and then you're like, okay, is he dead? Okay, he's dead, and then the title comes up, Tenet. I'm like, wow, so the first two scenes and he's already dead. Interesting. So, and then you see him open his eyes on some ship, and this agent guy's like, welcome to the afterlife, and we're like, is he a ghost now? Is this like some sci-fi world? Because you know what I thought when that happened, I was like, okay, so he's gonna be like some kind of ghost now. People won't be able to see him, but he can do stuff or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. I was like, okay, how did they do this? How is this man alive right now? Did he go back in time? What happened?
Yeah, and apparently they put all his teeth back and like they fixed his mouth.
Yeah. And then they said it was like a test.
Yeah, so that he passed the test. He didn't give up his colleagues. So he got the word Tenet, and he literally told him, look, that's the word. Go do your thing. Just try to find just try to prevent World War III and just, yeah. And it was like, okay, so I guess that's all he needed to do. No, the word is Tenet, and which is like a palindrome. So spell it backwards, it's Tenet. It's interesting little tidbit about that word. And honestly, I didn't know what to think in the beginning when, that happened, because I thought, okay, so you're telling me he's not dead, he's alive, but at the same time, he's not a CIA agent anymore. He's just like a spy now. He can do whatever he wants. The Tenet is his Tenet is pretty much the key to whatever he wants. And we see that later, he finds out what Tenet actually is, and Tenet is working with sort of these algorithms that were created all the way in the future, but were able to communicate from the future all the way to the past. So apparently, this was explained in the movie. Somebody, people might have missed this, but apparently, a scientist created the algorithm to warn people in the past about what's going to happen in the future. So apparently, the world is about to come to an end in the future because of global warming. So the algorithm was created so people in the past can, find out about this and do something about it. But the thing is, the problem with that is it ends up being in the wrong people's hand. So Kenneth Branagh's character, who's the villain, is actually communicating with the future, and that's how he's able to amass his wealth. And he was able to get all the nuclear warheads that were spread out throughout Russia, and he's basically like a key to literally starting nuclear war. Like if he's dead, the nukes go off, and he uses that to his advantage pretty much. And I love the scene where he finally understood like what was going on, like with the inversion. Like he was picking up the bullets, and I know it's a bit dialogue heavy and bit of an expository, and I know people sometimes don't like exposition, but I feel like this exposition was pretty necessary to understand how inversion works. When he's shooting the bullet, he's not actually shooting it, he's catching it.
Catching it, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's interesting. And inversion as a theory is probably very complicated for normal people, but Christopher Nolan, kind of helps the audience understand it in like the simplest way possible. So he kind of makes it accessible to the people.
Yeah. And then she says like, you have to drop the bullet first, and
Right.
and then just like picks it up. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, do you wish sometimes that maybe they just advertised this movie as a spy movie and then they didn't mention the inversion part at all, and then you see the movie and it's like, whoa, he's catching the bullet, he's dropping it and then picking it up in the future? Like, what do you think about that?
I mean, yeah, it is definitely a spy movie, and I mean, I mean, it's Christopher Nolan. He always has like something, like
Right.
he always has like trippy movies like these, and I mean, I think maybe it would have put butts in seats if it was just like a spy movie. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it doesn't really matter to me that much because, there's a reason Nolan wanted you to see, like, hey, they're working with this sci-fi element of inversion. They're gonna be able to do stuff like this. So,
And that's what like got people's attention. If it was just like a regular spy movie, I don't think that would get people's
right,
attention.
because I feel like the plot itself and things that happen are like not convoluted, but they're very intricate. Like one character is connected to another, and like it's a very complicated, very focused vision, right? So you have to pay attention. So it's like, I think Christopher Nolan was like, okay, let's just show people this inversion angle, get them real excited, because it's not the main thing. It's not just some kind of superpower. It's a because we knew about the inversion, but we didn't know why the inversion was able to happen. So we understand now it's people from the future communicating to the past, which is super crazy if you think about it. Like they talk about the grandfather theory in the inversion, because so they're able to enter the algorithm, you notice, and they're able to go back to the past. And the grandfather, they talked about how, like, okay, if you meet yourself or if you killed your grandfather, you wouldn't exist. But at the same time, they talked about how that would work in theory, and I thought that was really interesting. What did you think about like the actual time travel aspect when they were able to go back? Because the scene specifically I'm talking about is the one car chase scene you see in the trailer, and it's to, take the. I think they were retrieving the plutonium. I think if I'm being.
The car chase scene?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the plutonium, and then.
And the what was that yellow box thing? Yellow
Right.
briefcase.
Yeah, and he gives up the plutonium to Kenneth Branagh's character, and then he goes back into the inversion to save Kat.
Yeah, when he stepped outside though, it was crazy.
I know.
Like when he was like walking and stuff, it was, and driving too.
Dude, the driving was crazy. Did you see? Like, I was in amazement how that car was in the reverse, going like it was straight, but in reverse.
Honestly, I'm not know how Christopher Nolan did that.
I know, and you see him, and the funny thing about the Neil character is he saves him multiple times throughout this movie. He saved him when he was almost about to die in the fire, and he saved him at the end of the movie when he was about to get shot by the goon from Kenneth Branagh's goon. He saved him. I feel like there's other parts I'm missing, but he saved him multiple times throughout this movie. And it's crazy. Speaking of Neil, like the character itself was very interesting, as he was helping John David Washington's protagonist without any reason, and you thought to yourself, okay, why is he helping him? Like, and then you find out later that he was supposed to help him anyways, because in the future, they end up becoming a team, and they're kind of working backwards because Neil doesn't tell protagonist about the Tenet project. Like, he doesn't tell him about that, because what's gonna happen is gonna happen. He doesn't want to interfere with that and tell him about Tenet. He's gonna find out about Tenet in the future, but it's working backwards in a way. Did you notice that?
Yeah. 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 And didn't he save him in the beginning too?
Right.
Like in
What
the
scene was that?
in the theater one, like someone saved it. I'm not sure who it was. Remember, like it was like the first scene we saw the inversion, like the bullet hole like the bullet coming out of the steps or whatever, and like someone saved him, and John David Washington, like that guy's not, he's not one of ours. I was wondering if that was Neil.
Oh,
Remember
right.
that?
Okay.
Remember that part?
I almost forgot about the scene. You're right. So I guess that was Neil. Maybe we were gonna get more context about that scene, but it's a deleted scene because we
Yeah.
never actually saw Neil in that scene.
Yeah. And we never saw like who that was. He just said that's not one of our guys.
Right, but I'm pretty sure that was Neil.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's crazy. Yes. See, stuff like that, when you think about it, you'll notice and you'll be like, it's like a puzzle. Like, you got to think
Yeah, that's
about it
why
a
you
little
gotta
bit.
watch it a second time too.
Yeah. And you're like, wait, how did that happen? Oh, no, wait. Okay, that's the missing piece. Okay, now it makes sense. That's like the missing piece of the puzzle. Amazing.
Yeah.
And we talked about Vicky's character. And it's funny. I mean, going back to Neil just like a little bit. Her son's name is Max, or full name is Maximilian. Maximilian reversed is the first four letters is Neil. So people are thinking Elizabeth Debicki's son is actually Neil, but he doesn't tell John David Washington he's Max. He just tells him he's Neil because he'll find out later that he is Max. What do you think about that theory?
Oh shit. That would make sense.
Yeah,
I mean, it'd be crazy because like he said that he recruited him when John David Washington was older and Robert Pattinson was younger. So, and he's obviously keeping an eye on Elizabeth Debicki's character. So
yeah.
That's
If let's
very
say
interesting.
that is his mother, and you remember when John David Washington like we have to save her. He didn't hesitate one bit. He was like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. He could have easily been like, dude, leave her alone. We have bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
But no, he was like, okay, we're gonna help her out. So I feel like Neil kind of kept this plot like he was kind of a bridge between him with the plot with what's going on with Kenneth Branagh and John David Washington. So I feel like he was like a bridge for the movie.
I mean, that's a great theory, though. I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah. Like, it's just because Maximilian, because his name is Maximilian, and then you reverse it, it's Neil. So he could be using the name Neil as a kind of like a alias to, like, not confuse John David Washington, because he's supposed to keep the protagonist on a straightforward path and help him discover Tenet, because we find out in the end that the protagonist is the one who finds Tenet, but he's working backwards. So he's working at the end of the thing, working towards discovering Tenet. It's mind blowing, to be honest.
And throughout the movie, Robert Pattinson's Neil, like we all knew, like he knew more than he let on.
Exactly.
And it was interesting, like to find out, like how does he know all this? Like what is he hiding?
Yeah, I thought to myself, well, is he? Because before the movie, I saw the movie, I was like, wait, is he like a secret villain of this movie? It's just that he's
I
not
thought
a
it was
villain.
gonna be like a twist like that too.
No, he wasn't like a villain or anything. He was just being vague to keep the protagonist on a straightforward path to their end goal. It's interesting if you think about that. And Debicki's cat was probably the most emotionally invested character that we were able to feel for, because she has the son, but she has to endure this abusive relationship with Kenneth Branagh's character, who's more than just a arms dealer. She hates him because of his arms dealing, but she doesn't realize that before John David Washington uses her to get close to him, that he's communicating with the future, and he's able to use the algorithm to do whatever he wants and make himself the man he is. That's how he becomes rich, pretty much, because he's able to communicate with the future and use the algorithm. But yeah, I like.
And doesn't he like keep their son away from her?
Yeah, he
Something
keeps.
like that.
Yeah, exactly, because he uses the son as like a bargaining chip in the relationship to keep her there, because I guess she would have probably divorced him or anything like that if he wasn't a factor.
Well, yeah, she said he controlled her anyways. So.
Right, and I think that's the reason John David Washington felt for her and like wanted to protect her. He was literally like, okay, I'll do this for you, I'll get you the plutonium, but you gotta give up, like you gotta free up, let her go, like let Kat go. But you remember that scene, dude? This is unbelievable. That scene when Kenneth Branagh was talking backwards, but John David Washington.
Oh my God.
Was answering. I was confused. I was like, wait, what is he saying? No, but wait a second. He might be talking backwards, and then you see John David Washington tell him the answer forward, and then when
it showed him talking backward first, and then like you can barely hear him saying it again forward.
Yeah, dude, and we find out in the movie, like, she got shot, right? But but the thing is, when you pull the bullet back, and the shot goes back inverted, it hurts way more than if you shot somebody straight up.
And during that scene, we didn't, because we saw the bullet in the wall and the blood. We didn't know we didn't know if he was gonna shoot her in the head or anything.
Yeah, we knew he was gonna shoot her though. Like we knew that, but
we didn't know she was gonna die.
Yeah, it hurts even more because the shot was inverted. When the shot is inverted, it hurts like hell, apparently.
Yeah, and it's more deadly, I think, too.
Yeah, more deadly.
That's why it was hard for her, to recover from that.
Yeah, and I like how we saw the flip side of the algorithm, where you saw Kenneth Branagh saying the dialogue, in forward time, and then you heard John David Washington saying it in backwards.
Yeah, that whole scene was crazy, and one of my favorite scenes was the remember when they it was during the, what's it called, the plane crash scene, and
the plane crash.
They walked through that that similar kind of glass wall is like, what happened here? It hasn't happened yet. And it turns out he was fighting himself the whole time.
Yeah, he was fighting himself.
And Robert Pattinson saw it, Neil saw it too, and we didn't find out. He knew until the end.
I was confused. Like, hold on, he took off his mask, but he didn't. He let him go. Like, why did he let him go? Like, I was like, is he planning something? Oh, you notice? Oh, he's letting him do his thing because that's supposed to happen. And I like how Neil kind of pretended he didn't know what was going on. He was like, what happened here? Dude, you know what happened here.
I mean, I wasn't expecting that though.
Yeah. I love that that hallway fight, like the inversion that was happening in that scene, and John David Washington fighting himself. Like, dude, that blew my mind. I was like, throughout the trailers, I thought he was fighting some random guy. He was fighting himself. And
Robert Pattinson was fighting him too.
Right, exactly. And you remember that scene? We just talked about the car chase on the freeway. That scene where the car that flipped, right?
Yeah, that was John David Washington.
Yeah, he was in the car.
Shit was crazy.
I know, dude. I was like, wow. I've been watching the trailers for months because I was anticipating this movie, but now it's like, whoa, the trailer is like completely. The context has completely changed for me. And then
Kenneth Branagh's character sees him with that breathing mask on. He knows oh shit, I gotta take you. He burns he tries to blow up the car.
Yeah.
And then and then he froze. They explained this earlier. If there's a fire, it becomes ice or whatever.
Right, because inversion.
Yeah.
It works backwards.
And then he almost died of hypothermia until Neil saved him.
Yeah. Neil, man, coming in clutch again. Yeah, Neil was surprisingly super important character, and his character goes way deeper than what the plot might tell you, which is crazy. And yeah, like have it in my notes. Like he saves him multiple times, and he tells him at the end, we're gonna. This is a start. This is the end for him. Like he's gonna go on a mission to, like a suicide mission. But this is the beginning of their friendship, and it's like, wow, that is some heartfelt stuff right there.
Yeah.
It's the end for him, but it's a beginning for John David Washington and their friendship. Because presumably Maximilian, becomes Neil, and then they meet again.
And we don't know like how old John David Washington was until we met Neil, so we don't know how long
exactly.
he's gonna be, how long he's gonna find Tenet,
Yeah, we don't know when he finds Tenet, but protagonist is the one who finds Tenet, and he's the founder of Tenet. But we noticed the person who is one of the heads of Tenet. You remember the character, the old lady who's talking to him, and she tells him like, "Hey, you're not the only protagonist. There's multiple protagonists." But it turns out he was the main protagonist, and she tried to kill Kat at the end to tie up loose ends because she wasn't supposed to survive.
And then he killed her.
Yeah, it killed her because he knows he's actually the protagonist of this story, which is like so cool. And my theory about the protagonist is Christopher Nolan, didn't give him a name because the protagonist is us, like the audience. Like we are him, and we're just experiencing what's happening to him. What do you think about that theory?
I mean, I think that's pretty solid, and yeah, we're finding everything out as he's finding everything out.
Right, exactly. We experience everything through his perspective. So
yeah,
we're all the protagonist of our story. So like, I guess he's the.
Yeah, we're exactly like him. We don't know what the fuck is going on until someone explains it, and yeah.
Yeah, I gotta point this out again, but I think John David Washington was great in this movie. I feel like his performance mixed with everybody else's performance, like even I don't know how this reviewer I saw was like, oh, the characters have no depth. Bullshit. Like these characters are so complex and so like intricate to each other. I felt for them, all of them. What do you think about that? Like I loved all the characters. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I love all the characters too, but I think the character who has like a more fleshed out character is Elizabeth Debicki's character.
Right. She like the emotional weight of the movie, and as the protagonist, you're experiencing her emotions, and then Neil is helping you to lead you to a certain path. So everything is like a puzzle. Everything is falling into place for you.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I think all the characters were like, they're not just like throwaway characters,
Right, everybody was important.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and ending, in general, the ending was just like insane. With the Team Blue going in, the inversion part, and Team Red going into forward time, trying to prevent the nuclear bomb from exploding. And did you notice that Kat talked about this woman who fell from the ship?
Yeah.
That was her.
I know.
It was happening.
It's like everything connects,
Yeah, that was the inversion that was happening, and she was going forward in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then she said, like her husband disappeared or whatever, and he died.
Right, exactly. Perfect. Oh my god.
Yeah, this movie is just a big puzzle. We have to just put the pieces together, and seeing it a second time will definitely help.
Yeah, and plus, I'm looking forward to watching with the subtitles on,
me too.
so I can get the dialogue I didn't miss. But all that Christopher Nolan said, like, he lets you hear the dialogue that's the most important. Like, he'll let you hear the important dialogue, but kind of the throwaway dialogue, he kind of puts the score over it, so the scene is more entertaining to watch. So it's not like a big deal, but I feel like on second this movie again is meant for repeat viewing. literally made for repeat viewing.
Well, the composer Ludwig, I'm probably gonna butcher his
Grossman?
name, but yeah,
Something like that. Yeah.
His, I mean, we know Hans Zimmer couldn't do this movie because he was working on, I think, Dune.
Yeah, he was
But
working on Dune. Yeah.
yeah, but this guy was a great composer. I mean, his score was beautiful. It was unbelievable,
Yeah. I mean,
and it
he
just
did.
fits so well in the
He's
movie.
he's done scores for a lot of recent blockbuster. I think he did one for Black Panther. He won an Oscar for the Black Panther
Oh
score.
yeah.
And I mean, this guy seems like he's like the future of like blockbuster movie scores. And he did the score for Creed, Venom, Creed 2. Yeah, he's definitely like he's a young guy, so he's like the future of movie scores. He's like the next successor to Hans Zimmer, in my opinion. If Christopher Nolan chose this guy,
Oh yeah, and I mean, it was kind of like a breath of fresh air too, because Hans Zimmer did like all his scores pretty much,
right? So it's
like
like,
pretty much almost every movie he's done.
yeah,
And this new score from a new composer that Christopher Nolan hasn't worked with, it
yeah.
was good.
Hey man, and I feel like Christopher Nolan, kind of like Zack Snyder, has like an eye for talent, like nobody else. Like he knows where to find talent. It's
Oh, yeah.
unbelievable how Christopher Nolan literally finds the perfect casting for anything. Like for example, Dunkirk, one of the actors he hired was Harry Styles, who's like a singer. He's not even an actor,
Yeah,
and
he was good in that movie.
exactly he ended up giving the best performance. I was like, Christopher freaking Nolan, how the heck do you find
Yeah.
like this talent? Like, how do you as a director get the best out of them? It's unbelievable.
And even John David Washington, I mean, we all know he's Denzel Washington's son, but he's like
Right,
not that well known, you know.
right,
He was
exactly.
like in one movie people may know him in Black Klansman, and hopefully this movie will get him more well known.
Right, and this isn't like a case of nepotism. He didn't get this role because he's
Yeah.
Denzel's son. Like I don't even know that he was Denzel's son, to be honest. Like he just everything he's gotten, like the Black Klansman role and this role he's gotten based on his own talents. He's a very talented actor, and I
Oh,
definitely looking forward to seeing him in more movies.
yeah. Christopher Nolan's casting is like unbelievable. Like he knows who should do
Yeah.
what. Yeah.
Right.
He casted people to their perfect roles.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I was so hyped when the Travis Scott song came out for the end credit scenes,
Oh yeah.
or the names came up, and the IMAX sound, the speakers were like bumping that bass.
Yeah,
Like
it was
I was
pretty
like,
dope. Yeah.
I was just sitting in amazement, and when all the names were coming up on the screen, I was like, man, that was that was an experience right there, and that song like was perfect.
All right. So I have a question that I can't figure out. Okay, you know, like in the end when John David Washington and Aaron Taylor Johnson's character like are in there, like
Right.
behind the gates, and like one of the henchmen that we seen earlier, like
Yeah.
did Aaron Taylor Johnson die and then he came back from inversion?
I didn't
Because I
think about
remember
that.
like someone getting shot and then someone cut like and then like the bullet like came back from inversion and now he's back. Like I
I think so. Somebody did get shot. I think it was him that got shot.
like
And
I
you're
think he got shot in the head and then he came back with like from like because inversion
inversion.
brought him back.
Yeah. And you noticed that scene, the backpack
Yeah.
at the other side was a dead Neil, because the backpack was on the other side, and there was a body by it, assuming that was Neil's body. So he had done the inversion and gotten in there to help protect protagonist. So I feel like they both worked to help him
Yeah.
get to the other side and finish the job. That's why he tells him like, "Hey, this is the end for me," because he's dead already, pretty much. Yeah, so I think that's a plausible theory that he did come back from inversion and the bullet, you know, went back outside through inversion.
Yeah, it was a crazy movie and I cannot wait to watch it again.
Yeah, dude, when when the nukes were going off in like the 9, 10,
Dude.
8, 7, dude, I was like, holy crap, is this gonna go off?
Dude, yeah, the building like came back from like being exploded just to get exploded again.
I know, right?
Like it was awesome.
Yeah, and Christopher Nolan actually blew up that building. And
Yeah, of course he did.
bro, what kind of camera work is that? Like, this is some next level cinema. Like, this is.
Dude,
I
he's
feel
a
like
master.
I feel like this is the movie people should be talking about and studying for years to come. Because I feel like this movie is like the future of cinema. Like, this is how you blow people's mind. This is how you give them an experience they'll never forget.
I mean, yeah, well, I think a lot of his movies should be like that, like The Prestige, Inception, Interstellar, like a lot of like he's a great visual director, like
Right.
Zack Snyder.
Right, and visuals and movies as a whole are a visual piece of storytelling. Movies in general aren't supposed to be dialogue heavy. Like, dialogue isn't supposed to carry the movies. Yeah, sure, there are lines like there's memorable lines here and there, but what you're able to pick up in that aspect ratio, that frame, is what should drive the story, not the dialogue.
And he knows that
right.
pretty well because he always used those beautiful IMAX cameras.
Right, because television is a very dialogue heavy expository medium, but movies as a whole are a visual medium, and Nolan knows that. Like, I think he turns up the bass on the dialogue so you can't hear, because he wants you to focus more on what's going on visually rather than what somebody's saying.
Yeah, he does that with Inception too.
Right.
Because that's like a visual.
Right. It's a visual piece of storytelling.
Yeah.
Which and through the dialogue, I think the dialogue is mostly there to set up the plot, but the visuals are there to complete the story for you.
And it kind of like tells us like kind of like what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. The visuals are like the main thing that drives the movie forward, basically.
Like, sometimes I would kind of get lost a little bit, but then I found my way coming back like during like with all the visuals.
Right, you'd pick up the visual cues, and for example, like if you didn't pick up the backpack that was Neil's backpack, if you didn't see it, you would be confused. Like, why is Neil talking about being dead? Because he's dead in the future.
Yeah.
Right, because the character that meets John David Washington is the inverted one, I think. And if you didn't pick up on the visual cue that the backpack was Neil's backpack, you would completely miss it. And I feel like people are gonna realize that Neil is already dead in the second viewing. See, so that's like the biggest example of focusing on visuals rather than dialogue.
Yeah, because he was dead on the other side of the gate.
Right, because he doesn't say like, "Hey man, I'm gonna be going there because I'm dying. Bye bye." He doesn't say that.
Yeah.
Other directors would do that because the audience, they think of them as dummies, so other directors would do that. But yeah, man. So do you have any other observations? I know I was rambling on just a little bit.
I mean, I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it when they went back to like certain scenes. Like, I loved it when they went back to the plane crashing scene.
Oh yeah, true. When the inversion was happening, they were just taking a cat's body through the rubble, and the water hose was going backwards out. That scene was very nice. Like, I really liked the the urgentness of the scene because you knew what was going on.
Yeah, and like the initial plane crash scene, like when they're going into and they had to like hold their breath for like whatever, like 40 seconds or something like that.
No, he said 10 seconds. I like how Neil went to the guy and was like, "You said 10 seconds, right?"
The guy just ran out the door.
He doesn't care about y'all. He gone. He's gone.
Yeah. And then like on like the last door, one of his keys broke.
Right.
And that was it was a really good, that fucking score, that fucking airplane was loud as fuck.
Yeah, I cannot wait to watch it again.
Airplane was so loud.
I know, true. But yeah, man, that was our spoiler talk for
Mhm.
Tenet. Man, it was an amazing movie. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. We're back in the cinemas, baby, and
Hell yeah.
probably the next movie I'm gonna watch is, unless I watch Tenet again, probably gonna be Wonder Woman 1984 in October next month.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed that video and make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And click on the channel to check out some more awesome videos like our movie and wrestling debates and our interviews with people like the Wrestling Classic and Jordan Jomo from the IGWC. And we are definitely looking into delivering you all some more content in the near future, so definitely be on the lookout for that. And thank you for your support.